Kevin terrorized and stalked me and my family for 17 years before he was convicted. And he was only convicted due to the diligence of the sheriff's office putting cameras in my yard to observe the things that he did. He never, ever admitted any responsibility. He never showed any remorse. His parents always said, "Don't call the deputies, call us, we'll take care of it."
We are about to watch the parole hearing of one of the scariest real monsters that we have seen, and that's saying a lot. Now, I'll allow the assistant district attorney, Randall Meyer, to share that information, as well as the victim who is standing up as a survivor. I'll unpack it with the details of his appeal at the end.
To introduce everybody there, I'm told, because we've already introduced him once, so I apologize.
That's okay. He just got in here. Sorry for the delay.
That's okay. We're rolling through trying to get ahead before the storm. And so anyway, okay, welcome, Mr. Kevin, and say your last name.
Dubler?
Dubler?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna call you Kevin. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Fine.
name's good. I wasn't gifted with that. But Kevin, it's good to see you this morning. My name is Steve Prater. I'm the acting chairman of the parole board today. To my right is Pete Freeman, and to my left is Carolyn Stapleton, and we'll be the ones deciding your case today. Okay, yes. Kevin,
yes.
The way this will go is I'll ask you to talk to us about what occurred as far as why should we give you a parole? Why do you want out? What have you done to earn an early release? Then I'll ask the warden to tell us about how you have been while an inmate. Then we will move on. There's no one speaking on your behalf, but we have two folks that will then speak on your opposition. The first one is Catherine Hamill, and the victim, and then Randall Meyer, who's the assistant DA. Then we'll ask a few questions and we'll vote. So let's get started this way. Why do you think that you are entitled to, and we should consider granting you a parole?
Well, in this time that I've been serving this sentence for the crimes that I've committed, I've done a total 180-degree change from the selfish, angry person that I always living in denial was, and sobriety has come along the way too. And I've really decided to stay with that positive change and live out my life meaningfully as a contributing person to society, instead of always with the selfishness, just looking out for me and you know, reckless behavior and stuff like that with no regards. I'm very remorseful for that man that I was, actually, as a younger person too. I was that same way, living in denial, had, you know, no reason to change. Everything was great, I believed. And since being at David Wade, mostly with the rehabilitative programs I've participated in, I've seen the light, and just I'm very sorry and remorseful that it took so long to reach this point, to even understand, you know, it took that long with some of these real good courses, the people that support me here and stuff, and give me opportunity to stay busy working positively and avoiding any temptations or anything that I used to have. You know, I'm over it.
Okay. All right. We appreciate that, Warden. What kind of an inmate has Kevin been?
Kevin's been here since 2017. He's been in medium custody ever since he's came to David Wade. He doesn't have any rule infractions. He has a decent work evaluation from his supervisor. He has completed reentry, victim awareness, anger management, and substance abuse. He does have an electrical construction degree, so he would have an employable skill if released. However, we haven't been able to secure a residence plan. We do have some different options, but they were going to only entertain that if he was released. So right now his residence plan is pending. But he doesn't have any disciplinary issues here at David Wade.
Okay, good. All right, well, we will move into the opposition, and the first we'll have is Catherine Hamill. Miss Catherine?
Sorry, I'm not real good with the computer. This is very emotional, very upsetting anytime something with him comes up. Kevin terrorized and stalked me and my family for 17 years before he was convicted. And he was only convicted due to the diligence of the sheriff's office putting cameras in my yard to observe the things that he did. He never, ever admitted any responsibility. He never showed any remorse. His parents always said, "Don't call the deputies, call us, we'll take care of it." So he always avoided having to be responsible for the crimes that he did. Now, when he went back to live with his mother, I saw several newspaper reports where he was beating her up, but yet she would not press charges. And then I guess finally it got to the point where she really truly believed he would finally kill her. So she went ahead and pressed charges. He lived next door to me. I was on a dead-end street. I was trapped. He would block the street. He would terrorize my children. They could not play outside in the front. My dog got his eye shot out. There was garbage thrown on my roof, across my yard. He never, ever, and he always claimed he was the victim. And his mother would say, "Oh, well, maybe something upset him." Well, that doesn't give you the right to go ahead and attack other people because you don't like what somebody says or what somebody does. And I guess maybe some of those people he couldn't attack. So I was the target. I don't believe he will ever change. There is a darkness there I don't think he could possibly ever overcome. I submitted my journal at the last parole hearing, and it shows the history of what we all went through. And we are deeply affected by this. I know anytime I see someone on the street that even remotely resembles what he looked like the last time I saw him, my stomach churns. I am constantly vigilant, looking out for everything and everyone who's around me, because if he gets out, I really believe he does intend to kill me. He bragged to the police on many occasions he was going to kill me, and they'd never be able to prove it. He'd do it in such a manner it was not possible for them to prove he was responsible.
Okay, well,
I don't want to, overrun my time, and everything was in my journal, and I appreciate you giving me this time to make this opportunity to present a statement at this hearing, but I respectfully ask that you deny his request for parole.
thank you for the time it's taken for you to be standing by and to come and talk and be part of this hearing. Thank you very much. Okay, Randall, it's your turn now, sir.
Good afternoon, Randall Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. We are opposed as well to this Dubler's request. The facts of this case are truly horrible. He beat his mother with a small baseball bat, caused severe bruising to her chin, eye, arms, hands, chest, legs. He strangled her, had bruising around her neck. And that wasn't the first time. Looking at the police report, and this comes from the police report, it says, for this incident, has the victim reported an incident before? Yes. Have you ever had to seek medical attention before? Yes. Any weapons in the house? Yes. Has he used or threatened to use weapons? Yes. Does he abuse alcohol? Yes. And he's had, I think, 4 arrests for DWI, and I don't see much in the way of programs dealing with his substance abuse. Is the suspect, is he violent outside the relationship? Yes. Has he threatened to kill you? Yes. And he told his mother that morning, I got this knife, it's a sharp knife, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna stab you with it. It's really a horrible situation. He's only served about half of his sentence. His custody status in the time he's been in there is still a medium custody status. And the work evaluation is somewhat alarming as well. It's the work evaluation is fair, and it says that's due to the ability to work with other inmates during his work in the facility, and that's the only thing that's fair. So it tells me he still has a difficulty dealing with people. And as the victim, that one victim just stated, he had stalked her, and she feels very threatened by him. If you look at his criminal history, there's weapons, violence, crimes against persons, there's stalking, a number of intimidation of witness offenses. I think additional, particularly dealing with anger management, would be appropriate for him. And at this time, we are opposed to his request.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, appreciate your and your office's involvement in so many of these cases. Thank you. Okay, I'm the lead investigator or the lead interviewer on this particular case, Kevin. So let me ask you this question. Just a minute, we'll get you back up where I can see you in front of the. Okay, now I can see you. Kevin, I'm the main questioner. I just got one question, is why should we let you out after beating your mom with a baseball bat, giving your neighbors hell, and only serving half your sentence? Why should we let you out with all that?
Because I feel I've proved my change in my past behavior here for 8 years, just about, and I'm in control now. I'm not that person that I was committing those crimes in my life. I'm totally sober. That played a little part, and I'm not going to return to the area that I came from and was used to that same old cycle. Anyone else that would be in my past, I wouldn't be near. I want to start my life over and prove that I can be trusted like I am now, to be trouble-free, defect-free. I've overcome these issues of anger and denial and stuff like that at this stage in my life. I feel I've paid my debt for the crimes that I've committed.
Okay, thank you. I don't have anything else. I'm ready to vote.
Yes, sir, I'm ready to vote.
Okay, my vote is to deny your parole at this particular time. I think the crimes are so egregious and your criminal history is so bad, and the length of time you served on your sentence, there's no way that I think that we're gonna put you back out into society and relieve you of the controlled environment that you're in. That's my vote.
I concur with Mr. Prater.
I concur, and there's also strong victim and law enforcement opposition. This is a very, very heinous crime, and as Mr. Myers pointed out, I was worried about that bad work history too, because when we see that, that's a star. Something's going on. So obviously, you still don't know how to get along with others. So my vote is to deny.
Okay, Kevin, your parole has been denied this morning. The time is, or this afternoon, it's 12:18 p.m. Thank you.
I wasn't kidding when I told you one of the scariest, and we have seen a lot, but there is something terrifying about this man. It's just terrifying. I mean, can you imagine having him terrorizing you as your neighbor for 17 years? And thank God, as she said, the sheriff department, they believed her, and they said, we'll set up cameras, we'll catch him, we'll prosecute him, we'll go over some of the appeals of part of some of his crimes in this case. It's just disturbing, and thank goodness the ADA, the good old Consistent Randall Meyer. He shows up to virtually every case in his parish. He is, it goes with him, Tracy, and we have a couple others, but that are on the list of DAs that we quite enjoy seeing. But man, can you imagine? He's 65 years old, and I would say that he has got to serve until he's simply not a danger. And I don't know when you can say that about someone that is obviously has real issues, right? So, anyways, I'll have nightmares from that. Officer Eric Myers within the Heron Police Department testified that on May 21st, 2014, he was on duty at the police station when Miss Dubler walked in to report an incident involving her son. So this is the mom talking about him right now. In her statements, she provided that the morning of May 21st, 2014, her son, the defendant, came home from the store after he had consumed alcoholic beverages and started roughing her up. Ms. Dubler reported that the defendant hit her with a little baseball bat and that she tried to get away from him, but he kept following her around the house. It is like, she also reported that the defendant grabbed her shirt, tore the buttons off, and tried to choke her with a shirt collar to the point that she was briefly unable to breathe. She also reported that he showed her a nice little knife and its blade, in which he threatened to use on her that night. What the hell is wrong with you? This was in 2014. So, you know me and my math, but if he's 64 now, that would have made him 54 years old when he's doing this to his mother. Are you kidding me? I mean, it doesn't make a difference what age you are. It's just the added. Why is he living with his mom at 54? Oh, okay. I'm not. We have one case of someone who did far worse to his mother. That I don't know if you know what case I'm talking about. I don't even want to bring it up. Okay. Anyways, Officer Myers recalled that at the time Miss Dubler came into the police station, she seemed frightened and feared for her safety. He further recalled that she was covered in bruises, some of which appeared older and in the process of healing, while others appeared fresh. The officer recalled, isn't the irony that it's the Officer Myers and also Randall Myers? Okay, called that his bruises were consistent with her accounts of the events. Investigating officer took photographs of her injuries, which were introduced into evidence reflecting the bruising and injuries consistent with her statements. After she provided the statements, the officer obtained permission to enter the home and arrest the defendant. When the officer and Jefferson Parish deputies arrived at the house, they attempted to enter, unlocking the front door, but felt resistance. Eventually, the officers discovered the defendant had duct taped the door locking mechanism from the inside. I expect nothing else, nothing less. Once they realized this, they applied force to the duct tape to gain entrance in the house and arrest the defendant. The defendant did not make any statements at the time of his arrest. Rebecca Deist, a paramedic at the East Jefferson EMS, was called on May 21st, 2014 to assess her physical condition, and the police department, Ms. Deist, testified that she refused medical treatment and refused to be transported to the hospital. Ms. Deist created a run report of her assessment wherein the documents sustained injuries. Chris Butler testified at trial that she is the daughter and defendant's sister. So he has a sister. Ms. Butler testified that her mother, 86 years old and suffering from dementia. That's just great. It just gets better, huh? Insane. She explains that she was diagnosed with dementia approximately 1 year after the incident involving the defendant, and that although she takes medicine, the condition continued to worsen. Ms. Butler confirmed that in 2014, the defendant resided with their mother in Harum. She received a phone call from her uncle on the morning of May 22nd, 2014, which caused her to bring her mother to the emergency room that morning. She further testified that the photographs introduced into evidence accurately depicted the physical bruising and that she had never seen similar bruising on her mother. Contains an apology, asked for forgiveness, stating that she was, what did I just, handwrite, okay. At trial, Miss Butler identified a letter dated July 31st, 2014, written in the defendant's handwriting, which was mailed at her home address. The letter introduced the evidence at trial contains apologies and asks her forgiveness, stating that she was never the intended target of his angers. She testified at trial that she was 86 years old, her date of birth, 1929. And she had 3 children. This reminds me of my grandfather, Grandpa Duke, who, by the way, just had his birthday 2 days ago, September 8th. He turned 95 officially. We can wish him a happy birthday. And she had 3 children. Butler and defendant, when asked about her memory, she said it was shot and it was not there for her. She stated clearly that her memory had gotten worse and that she could not make any sense of the questions. She stated that she could not recall exactly what she was in court, but that she was there because something to do with her son, the defendant. I wonder if she's still protecting him at this point. It wouldn't surprise me. When shown the photographs introduced into the evidence of the injuries, Ms. Dubler testified that the photographs of herself, she testified that although she does bruise easily, the photographs were taken when she was getting, she said that when she was getting beat up. When asked who beat her up, she replied her son, the defendant beat her up. She could not remember where she was, so she wasn't protecting him. This is just terrible. It's just terrible. It's like, how can you make this stuff up? I mean, I'm not saying how, he can't make it up. She testified that she overheard the defendant screaming obscenities at Miss Dubler almost nightly from her backyard. Okay, so here, this is now how the neighbor comes into play a little bit, I think. Felicia, Miss Dubler's next door neighbor, testified at trial that the defendant resided next door to her off and on from late 2012 through 2014. She testified that she overheard the defendant screaming obscenities at her almost nightly from her backyard. How do you, you need someone in a neighborhood that takes care of people like this, you know? Miss Sullivan testified that one Saturday night, April 2014, she stepped outside her home to record the screaming because it was so loud. The state introduced the evidence 2 videos and audio recordings during which she can hear a male screaming loudly and calling someone a bitch. Ms. Sullivan testified from her period of time between January 2014 and May 2014 that she and her neighbors discussed the screaming coming from the residents. What is there really to discuss here? This is the appeal. You know, the guy went to trial. Can you imagine being his attorney, trying to defend this guy? Oof. Someone who does this to their aging mother with dementia. What was the what was the full sentence? So it was his conviction was cruelty to the infirm, violation of, enhanced 20-year sentence as a multiple offender. So I guess he got 40 years. I can't remember what they said, but anyways, he served only half his sentence, so that would make him somewhat, or maybe he got no. So he got 20 years and he served 10. So there you have it. I mean, evil does exist, and hopefully he serves full 10, and I assume that he will. You never know. But there are other states that we cover where they would have paroled him. And if you want to see those other states, make sure to check Channel 2, where I cover Iowa, Utah, Connecticut, Illinois, and now Vermont. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Help me reach 100,000 subscribers. And with that, I'll let you go.
I don't believe he will ever change. There is a darkness there I don't think he could possibly ever overcome. I submitted my journal at the last parole hearing, And it shows the history of what we all went through. And we are deeply affected by this. I know anytime I see someone on the street that even remotely resembles what he looked like the last time I saw him, my stomach churns. I am constantly vigilant, looking out for everything and everyone who's around me, because if he gets out, I really believe he does intend to kill me.